Welcome to the Offshore Club's fun-filled, fact-filled, fast-paced, blockbuster podcast, Coffee with Carib Carter, coming to you exclusively from where the sun never sets on the good life at a great price. And now, fill up your favorite coffee mug and join your expert and your guide, Carib Carter Clues.
Hola, 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 and welcome to Coffee with Carib Carter. Jesus Christ. What penguin? There. Sorry, it's Petey the Christmas penguin. Just wanted to tell you hello, Merry Christmas. And don't worry, he wanted to make sure to tell you, don't worry this Christmas. Have fun and don't worry about the Grinch, Ebenezer Scrooge, or Anthony Fauci, right? That's right. Yeah, okay, there we go. So we'll talk later. Is that okay? We'll talk. Okay, there we go. All right. Welcome to Coffee with Carib Carter. We have a absolutely packed show for you today. Packed show. We did 2 interviews that we're going to share with you that you're going to love, absolutely love. You know, we've started a new service on Coffee with Carib Carter, Offshore Club, your Offshore Club, called the Guru's Corner. Okay, you already know about Romulus. Remember, we interviewed him about who gives you some investment analysis. Okay, every week in the Offshore Club Gazette. Any of you who are watching who haven't subscribed yet, it's free. Just go to offshore.club and subscribe to the Offshore Club Gazette. Absolutely free. You get it every day, and it's an incredible newsletter. It is the best offshore newsletter in the world. Literally, because it does grow. We have members all over the world. And so we already interviewed Romulus, and he was great. And today you're going to see an interview with our fitness guru, Dave, fitness guru Dave, who is just absolutely remarkable. And all his advice. So those of you who are already subscribers to the Gazette saw his first column this past week. I think it was Tuesday. Every Tuesday, he has a column just for Offshore Club members, geared to your interest and your lifestyle. Okay. And his advice is remarkable. And he talks about exercise, supplements, a diet, everything. Absolutely the best advice you're going to get. And again, it's geared to you because as I say to him in the interview that you're going to see shortly, a lot of you, especially those of you who already made your move offshore, you don't have access to a lot of equipment, maybe not a gym. I didn't when I lived in Honduras. He can tell you how to get in perfect shape without a gym, and including resistance training, not just cardio. So you're going to love that interview. Then we say hello again to an old friend. Some of you are going to remember Leslie Lawrence in Grand Pacific in Nicaragua. Incredibly delightful person. And she's coming back to, in the interview today, to talk to you about Christmas in the Caribbean. Christmas in the Caribbean. What a wonderful interview it is. You are going to say, wow, I like everything she talks about is what I want for my Christmas, okay? Except if you want a white Christmas, you're not going to get that. But except for the white sand on the beach, okay? So maybe you will get a white Christmas. But she is delightful and tells you about great Christmas traditions in the Caribbean, specifically Nicaragua, which you're going to say, next Christmas, I want to be there to celebrate that. Okay, so 2 great interviews coming, plus Mad Max moment. And last week we missed our $1,000 list in Caribbean. So this week I have an excellent one for you in the Dominican Republic. Okay, I think you're going to like this property. I think you're going to like it a lot. Okay, now, of course, because we have 2 great interviews, each of which takes a few minutes, I got to talk real fast because we want to keep it down to as near to 40 minutes as possible, which is where you all told me you like it to be. So let me start out like I always do. Excuse me a second. Asking you, keep your emails coming. Carib Carter 7, the number 7 at gmail.com. As you know, I answer every one of them, and it's wonderful to hear from you. And, I get some very kind comments. Every once in a while, somebody says, hey, I don't like what you did, which is fine. Hey, you are You are the Offshore Club, not me. I'm just lucky enough to be up here to get to try and head things up for you. So keep those emails coming. Follow Carib Carter with my Carib Carter Minutes on social media, Rumble, LinkedIn, Facebook. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the comments I get from you on that. We got a good club, folks. We got a good club. It keeps growing. As I said last week, it's up to 125,000 members worldwide. And from what I'm hearing from you, you're enjoying yourself. And that's what I want you to do. It's a lifestyle club. We want you to enjoy yourself, whether you're still wherever you are in the U.S., Canada, some other country, preparing to make your move south of the border to the good life at a great price in the sun, sand, and surf, or whether you're already down there. The whole point is to enjoy ourselves, okay? Enjoy ourselves, and thank God, I think we are, aren't we? I think we are. So let's move rapidly along here, and I'll finish up with a motivation moment I think you'll like. But let's move rapidly along. The Mad Max today, I have a Happy Max as well as a Mad Max, all right? So first, I'm going to show you the Mad Max moment. And it is it's actually a Carib Carter Minute. I sent out, may have been Wednesday, I posted on Facebook, Rumble, and LinkedIn, because, I got to be honest with you, I get a little tired of people from, the U.S. government in particular. The State Department loves to criticize crime in Central America. You want crime? I don't want to upstage myself. Watch this Carib Carter Minute, because this is a Mad Max moment. I'm a little mad because I want people to know you are safer now in Central America than in the U.S. So watch this, and I'll be right back. Hi, it's Carib Carter, and I get not a lot, but a good many email messages from followers of these Carib Carter Minute postings on social media, and from Offshore Club members. And I urge you to join the Offshore Club. Go to offshore.club, subscribe to the free daily newsletter, the Offshore Club Gazette. You're going to love it, I guarantee you. Do that, offshore.club. The Offshore Club members send me messages occasionally, and they say, what about crime? I'm concerned, and I understand this completely. We all should be concerned for our personal safety. I'm concerned about crime in Central American countries. And so I decided it's something I need to address. I don't want to go on at length, but I need to address it very briefly. If you're worried about crime, the place to worry is in the U.S. I'm just going to say it point blank. Countries like Nicaragua, Uruguay, Ecuador have violent crime rates way below the U.S., okay? Honduras just elected a new president, Xiomara Castro, who I think is going to crack down on crime there. They're good people. They've just been abused by a government that weaponized crime. Not the people's fault, the government's fault. But here in this country, let me just read you real quickly some headlines here. This is from the New York Post. Teen accused of sexually assaulting 87-year-old woman outside Waukesha Library. Here's something from the Daily Mail. Again today, shocking moment. Retired Chinese restaurant owner, 71, is randomly executed in Chicago as he went to buy a newspaper a block from his house. Here's a op-ed that I received from the Philadelphia newspaper from former Mayor Michael Nutter, appropriate name, going after the district attorney in Philadelphia, this Krasner fellow, who is simply a Marxist, a pro-crime, I'm not saying that lightly, pro-crime Marxist, who refuses to prosecute crime, refuses to punish criminals. The mayor says to him that, let me just read you the operative paragraph about Krasner. This is from the former mayor, okay? He has ignored the pain of the living and insulted the memory of the dead by Krasner's dismissal of charges against criminals and saying, he said, we don't have any crime in Philadelphia. 521 murders, a record-setting number under Krasner last year. Krasner should use his words to send a message to the shooters, murderers, and criminals of this city by committing to actually prosecute them rather than coddle them, make excuses, reduce or drop charges. He should commit to locking them up. Why in the hell should you have to tell that to a district attorney? And unfortunately, when I said Nutter, Mayor Nutso, when he was mayor until 2016, released 2,000 felons into the streets. And in his op-ed, he makes it clear that the real cause of crime in Philadelphia is police brutality. I don't know. Unless you think, oh, Carter, you're citing isolated incidents, here's an article from Newsmax. Okay, read that headline. Folks, all over the country, crime is raging out of control. And there's a president in the U.S. who, instead of standing up and saying, we're going to crack down, expresses his love for Black Lives Matter, didn't want to condemn the riots the summer before this past one. What do you expect to happen? You have district attorneys now in city after city after city in this country who were helped put there by George Soros in Philadelphia, Chicago, Boston, Baltimore, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Dallas, St. Louis. It goes on and on, doesn't it? Folks, I want you to, just in case you feel, well, Carter, that's only in those awful cities. Here's a map, the crime map of the records. Folks, it's all over America. And these are in cities, in areas that were once some of the safest in this country. So it's spreading. And I'm going to tell you, if you live in a small town anywhere near one of these cities, anywhere near, and they're everywhere, so you probably do, it's coming soon to a neighborhood near you, unless you just get out. Go to where it's safer, Central and South America. They don't tolerate all this. They don't tolerate district attorneys that I just named who make it their policy to not prosecute criminals, okay? They don't tolerate, in most of those countries, and they just got rid of one in Honduras, presidents who weaponize crime the way it's been done here. So it's time. I'd say it's time to crack down, but I don't think it's going to happen. So the best thing for you to do, since they're not going to crack down, is for you to just get out and go somewhere where you and your family and those you love will be safe. Okay, I urge you to do that. I urge you to do that from the bottom of my heart, that you don't have to live like this. So there you have your Mad Max crime moment, folks. They've even in El Salvador, they've cut the murder rate by 3/4 over the last year or so. So look, for your own safety, security, start making your plan B escape route, to the safer terrain south of the border. Now, there's another place where I think it's going to get a lot more safer, and that's my Happy Max moment, okay? Told you I had a double max today. Mad Max, which you just saw, but the Happy Max, go to offshore.club, and I'm not going to read it to you because we don't have time, and check out the column I did. It's called Xiomara Castro and Our Scriptures for the Day. Okay, Xiomara Castro and Our Scriptures for the Day. And it's about this new president of Honduras that was just elected. I think you're going to like this. I think you're going to like it. As someone who, along with my wonderful wife, owns 2 homes in Honduras, I got to be honest with you, I am thrilled. They desperately needed regime change there, and they threw out the old party that had brought in all the crime and the drugs. And this Xiomara ran a campaign based on, we're cleaning things up here. We're going to make Honduras like it was back 10 years ago, back when I first bought my first home there, and it was the loveliest, peaceful, most secure country in the Caribbean. She says, we're going to make it that again. And you know what? I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt because I like the way she campaigned. I like what she said. Read the column. Read the column. Nobody's perfect, but she has a lot to offer. And I know the people down there, because my wife's friends and relatives are there, they're really thrilled to finally have a breath of fresh air and a break. Okay. So read the column, Zia Mara Castro, and our scriptures for the day. Say a prayer for her and the people of Honduras, and start looking more there. This is a good time to invest there, because if Zia Mara does what she says she's going to do, those property values could start to skyrocket there. So get in now. I always tell people, buy cheap, buy cheap. Remember where I bought my home, La Ceiba Beach Club, LaCeibaBeachClub.com. There's a home right next to mine. I got a 2-bedroom home. I know you're going to say, oh, Carter, not again, please. Yes, I have to. I got a 2-bedroom home on the ocean. You got my front door. My front yard is the ocean. Not right up to the door. It's the beach, I should say. Out the back door is a swimming pool, the gazebo, the clubhouse. Right next door to it, I paid $30,000. The price gone a little bit. The one next to it, very much like mine, I think it's around 40 now. But get in now, because read the column. Read the column, offshore.club. It's a Clues Views column, so check it out, because I think you're going to be very, very happy with what's happening in Honduras now. Thank God, we're seeing tremendous progress there. So get in now. Get in now while the price is still cheap, because the out-migration south of the border, it's years ago I said to somebody, 10 years from now, the angriest people in America are going to be the illegal aliens who are coming across the border in this direction, who are going to be saying, the children who are going to be saying to their parents, when they look back and see how great life is in Central and South America now, what in the heck were you thinking of? Okay, you have come up here to a country that has, every day they take away another freedom. The crime is out of control. The government taxes you to death, 40 to 50% taxation. And you came up here when we had life in the sun, sand, and beach surf down there, and yeah. So while they're heading north, you head south, okay, and to the good life at a great price. So there you go. There's Nicaragua's fantastic now. El Salvador is really addressing their crime problem. Honduras, I think, is making major moves. It's the time to do it. This is the time to make your major move. All right. So as we always say, let's do this thing. Now let's get to our first interview. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do your $1,000 listing Caribbean for you. And another country that really has become kind of a Caribbean paradise. But the first interview, as I mentioned, is with a guy that I've known now for 3 or 4 years, a great guy. Again, I'm not going to one up my own interview, but I will tell you what you're going to hear from him is it's like fitness gospel. Okay. It's like fitness gospel. And I was thrilled when he said he'd come aboard the Offshore Club as our fitness guru. You're not going to get this anywhere else, particularly not from any other offshore organization, okay? But remember, we're lifestyle. We cover the whole gamut of your lifestyle offshore, okay? Or while you're still here preparing to go offshore. So let's talk to Dave now, and you might want to take notes. This guy knows his stuff. Let's roll it, Brian. Hello, David, and welcome to Coffee with Carib Carter.
Hey, Carter. Thank you.
Now, folks, in case you're wondering, why is Carib Carter wearing a Lowe's hat instead of his ridiculous pink Carib Carter hat? And it's because I had the joy of meeting Dave when both of us were doing some work at Lowe's. Mm-hmm. And that was like 3 years ago, I think now, 2-3 years ago. And I'm at the paint desk at Lowe's, and this guy who's in incredible shape comes up. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if I lift enough paint cans, I can look like that.
Yeah, you can if you're there long enough.
Well, I didn't stay that long. But But it was remarkable to me because as soon as I met you, it was like, this guy is in incredible shape. And then the more I got to know you, I realized that you're not just in great shape, but you know why you're in great shape. You know how you got in great shape and keep in great shape. And the reason you are the fitness guru of the Offshore Club now is because you know how to help other people do the same. So let's talk about it.
I like sharing as far as, what I know. Of course, I don't know everything, but I know what works for me. And I think that's a principle that a lot of folks should also adopt. Not everything works. You can't do everything unless you actually do enjoy everything. From a results standpoint, though, you may find that certain things you get better, quicker, faster results, and certain things you don't. There are things that I know that I venture into and I realize not getting much out of it, whether it's enjoyment or just, the physical result itself. So
Right.
try to create that balance and in doing that, so that there's more motivation to be consistent. That's, of course, another issue folks have.
Which
We all have to battle that.
Which is vital. And I think, before Dave and I went on, I was saying to him, I lived in Honduras. And this is why, folks, for those of you in the Offshore Club, whether you're living in the U.S. or you've already made your move offshore, what Dave has to share with us is very important. Because when I lived in Honduras, I lived, as all of you know, who are regulars at Coffee with Carib Carter, in the Honduran outback. There was no anytime fitness, okay, or Gold's Gym. So I had to figure out, Dave, how am I going to stay in shape? Because I'm pretty committed to that, okay?
Right.
And I couldn't buy, in Honduras, there's not a lot of place you can buy a whole lot of heavy metal and that kind of stuff. The cardio was easy, just the sun shining 365 days a year, go out and run. But resistance training was a problem, and you are going to help out the Offshore Club members know how to run the gamut of staying in shape, whether they're doing a little weightlifting, don't have weights, what other exercises, cardio, supplements, diet, everything, which is just, there's nowhere else on the internet that they can get the information you have. I know because we've talked over the years.
Sure.
And those who get the Gazette, the Offshore Club Gazette, saw your column this past week, which was excellent, by the way.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So we'll cover a little bit of what you talked about in the column. So those who didn't get a chance to read it yet, folks, if you haven't read it yet, offshore.club, check out the Gazette, and you'll see David's column there. Talk to us a little bit about what you said in that column that kind of lays the groundwork for the whole David's Fitness Guru corner here.
Well, one of the concerns, at least from my standpoint, from my experience, is that, we spend a lot of time doing what we're doing now, right? We're in front of a computer, and a lot of folks now are doing video, not too much of it. Even less traveling now means less movement. So I guess the premise is movement. Just movement means you're starting off by standing on your feet, not sitting down. Yeah. I mentioned in that article that sitting is probably the next serious syndrome compared to smoking, if you can believe that. Everyone's always focused on how unhealthy smoking is, but if you really think about being non-active or sedate in that type of physical sense, it could be damaging. And I personally felt that as I started getting more and more into my career and more moving from, say, being the guy on the road and doing the work, and then actually being promoted and moving up, and then getting into the office, and then, of course, computers and phones and technology and all that stuff. And now everybody's at home, or a lot of folks are at home. You're working sometimes in the office, sometimes at home. So the activity level is down, and we're just gravitating business-wise and personal-wise in front of the computer. I mean, just doing your own household finances. You're on the computer.
Yeah.
So that was my original concern. And then I one day was at the computer and just started doing searches on, mainly was back pain. I had some serious back pain. I got tired of it. I wanted to get rid of it. And to my surprise, I came across a website of a guy that's a strength coach as well as a physical therapist. And he mentioned in his video that, a lot of people with back pain are doing all these things about their back and their sciatic and all that. And he says, you got to start working your core, starting off with abdominal exercises.
Excellent.
And,
Excellent.
so I started looking into that, as well as hip flexors, right? So hip thrusts, if you ever seen anybody do hip thrusts, there's videos of some elderly folks, women included, in their 80s and maybe 90s, and they're doing some decent hip thrusts, and they give that one exercise a whole ton of credit for being active in their golden years, so to speak.
Now, what is a hip thrust?
A hip thrust is where you're pretty much you have your feet planted on the ground. You're laying on your back,
okay,
on the floor,
okay,
and you have your feet flat on the ground. Your knees are bent, and you just take your hip, you rest all the way on your shoulder blades, and you elevate your hips, and you basically try to get them to hit the ceiling, so to speak.
okay.
Right, and you're
Okay.
stretching those hips and those in your back, your lower back. You're hitting the glutes, you're hitting the back hamstrings, and you're getting everything from the hips down, activated. And a lot of folks, I've even seen celebrities, that online and in commercials and what have you, doing these exercises. Some people do them with a lot of weight. You don't have to, but some people get bored by doing it just with their own body weight, and they can add weight. So they'll get underneath a barbell with weight, and they'll start, throwing their basically hip thrusts.
Okay,
And
good.
they're lifting that weight with their hips. So it's at the very bottom of your abs, right above your pubic bone, using those hips to elevate that weight. They even have machines that are designed for that exercise in the gyms now. It's an really incredible exercise. Very simple.
This helps the hips and the back.
Yes, it's for your hips, back, lower back, legs, glutes. Very important. I don't know if people focus on the glutes from a health standpoint as they do otherwise.
Now, glutes are your butt, right?
Yes. Yeah, your
Okay,
glute maximus.
thank
Yeah,
you.
muscle
Right.
is the biggest muscle you have, but a lot of strength and a lot of stability when you really are working those glutes and you're working your hamstrings. I actually try to do them every day at some point, and in any type of exercise, just to kind of keep the strength and flexibility going.
It's actually, it's so funny. I'm glad you said that about this glutes exercise, because frankly, I have not done it, and I'm going to start. And I know David Goggins does like an hour of them a day. David, most of the folks out there, I talk about David Goggins so much, the Can't Hurt Me guy.
He's an incredible individual.
Is Superman, the toughest guy in the world. And he says that's vital, just as vital as his weightlifting and running, for stretching out and also for pain relief, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
For the
That's
back,
how I started it. Right. So, I mean, once, at first what you're doing, at least for me, I can only speak for myself, but what it basically happens is your muscles tighten up, right? They become almost inactive. And so now you're re-engaging them. You're kind of waking them up a little bit. Now that may tend that at first you might not feel much, or you'll feel a stretch. Then it'll start to feel a little bit aggravated. Maybe the next day you'll feel it later, a couple days later, and it might feel a little discouraging. But if you keep going, and that's something that, now, of course, you're doing this in moderation. You're not trying to break any world records. You just want to get that mind to muscle memory going. You want to make that connection. That's also something that I've been looking into a lot lately, is that mind and muscle connection. And you get there by basically isolating that muscle by doing the exercises in the proper form and doing it as strict as possible, not incorporating other muscles in the process.
Okay, good.
So,
good.
And some of these exercises do just that. You can do that, like that hip thrust. There are others, of course. There's a whole other gamut of exercises you can do, either body weight or with weights themselves. I mean, body weight's a good way to start off. That's actually how I got back into it. Like I said, the hip thrusts and working the abs. And then, of course, then I started going into some planks. Don't like planks. Like I said before, you got to do what you like and what helps you be consistent. So I started going more with push-ups. There's a million different ways you can do push-ups. They have all kinds of push-ups with different names: U.S. push-up, European push-up, this push-up, Romania. It's just crazy stuff. Just go ahead and Google it all, and you'll find it's all out there to take a look at and to try what seems to work for you.
But what about you? You mentioned abs. Let's back up for a second to abs, all right?
Sure.
Because I think that is an area that a lot of people just don't realize how important it is to keep the abs in shape. I mean, years ago I was working out at a gym in Virginia, and the punter for the Redskins was there, and he said to me, "You have to do abs every single day. Give us 3 ab exercises that people can do, Offshore Club members can do, whether they're at home, in their living room, or already moved offshore in their beautiful bungalow on the beach in Honduras or Nicaragua, wherever."
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a gazillion that you can take a look at, but to be basic and to be keeping it simple, so to speak. One is, and I can't show you right now, but you can just get into a sit-up position and actually not do a sit-up, but kind of this is your back. You're going to lean back, right? In that, and just hold it. Even put your arms, cross your arms, lean back in that sit-up position, and just hold it. See how long you could hold it for, and you could feel the tension going through your entire core. To me, a lot of folks want to do the abs. They want to, get a trimmer waistline, maybe even get to see some cuts. And if they're, depending on their mass or body fat percentage, they can start losing some weight and start seeing some ab development, which is a really good goal.
Which is great.
Yeah, but when I started looking at doing the abs initially, I was actually focused on core. So to me, abs and core, they kind of go hand in hand. And so leaning back, it's like a sit down kind of a plank where you're in that sit up position, lean back, hold it for as long as you can. Once you can't hold it anymore, then go into a very controlled sit up. And a lot of folks may, when they they want to do work, they want to, get into where they're in a working out kind of mind frame, they'll start going through the exercises at a fast rate. So in other words, I'm going to do 10 push-ups, and they crank out 10 push-ups. But to me, I'd rather do 10 push-ups that take me at least 5 seconds per push-up than just go through 10 push-ups in a matter of 10 seconds or 20 seconds. Right. Actually, the way I do them is I get to the bottom, I get to the top and hold it, and then go try to count to 10 on the way down, just on one repetition. So if you can do 10 seconds on the negative, on the eccentric, just going down for each one, doing 10 push-ups that way is not very easy.
How long should I on the stomach thing? How long should people hold it when they're back like that?
As long as you can. Until you can't hold it any longer, or until you get bored and you want to do something else, depending on. But you'll be surprised that those muscles are starting to, activate, tighten. The lower back is trying to support. The core is doing hopefully most of the work, and you're going to feel that fatigue set in pretty quickly. And then the idea is to now go into another movement, which can be a very controlled sit-up, right? So now you have that core activated.
All right.
Talk about mind to muscle memory, right? So now you've already established that, and that to me is important. So you do that, and by isolating those muscles, now you're feeling it. So now your mind and your muscle are connected. So now you go into the next exercise. Start doing a regular sit-up. Do it, but do the range of motion where you're feeling it the entire time. Don't come all the way up and don't go all the way flat. Try not, because those points, what I call the A to Z, those are pretty much rest points. You're going through the whole motion, right?
Okay.
So what I want to focus on is the B to Y. I want to focus on the B to Y. So not down, but right there before you get there. and then back up, but not to the very top, and then back in front and back. And again, you're keeping that tension on that body part, on that muscle, and you're working it and you're feeling it. And if you're doing it right and you're doing it slow enough, not too fast, and even concentrate on the negative, that's another portion that I try to focus on, which is going up. We focus on crunching up, but do we focus on the way down? Or are we using the way down just to come up and more or less focus on that positive coming up, that
right,
the concentric coming up, as opposed to, are you going just as strict on the way down? Because again, going down, gravity's there to help you. You're going down, you're not resisting. It's very much like pressing weights. It's not about just pushing it up. If you can control the movement on the way down, you're getting a lot more out of that exercise than you are just putting it up and then letting the weight come down on its own.
All right. On the club, I appreciate that. On the club member sit-ups, do you recommend the knees bent and the hands behind the head? What's the correct posture?
That's to me, it's a personal preference. I do is I try to keep my arms up, right? I don't really lock behind my head. I don't want that pressure on my neck. Okay. So I try to keep my hands to my side. I don't really lock them. If folks like to do that, or sometimes they feel it might help with their trying to come up, I try to let the abs do all the work. So I don't want my shoulders or my hands helping me come up or anything like that. I just want the core to do all the work. So I try to just keep my hands kind of like right at my head here, like it's almost just like like I'm trying to block out sound almost.
Right.
And I just have it come up like that, just to get my arms up, so that I know that I'm not using them to help me in the motion at all whatsoever. And having that little extra weight on top just makes it a little bit more difficult. But that's I don't like to lock out, like the old fashioned way, you're locking like you did in school, right? And you locked in there and somebody was holding your feet and all that other stuff.
What about holding feet? What about holding feet?
What I was doing, just to get started, I was anchoring my feet. I was either using a bar, or even I think I used to have a couch that used to slide my feet under. That would keep my feet stable, so I can actually use that as a anchoring platform, so I can go into the motions correctly. I didn't have to worry about keeping stable that way. I wasn't looking to do like a plank or anything like that. I was just looking to work the abs and get a decent workout in as I was progressing. So I was locking them in, and then I was doing some strict motions, trying to keep the tension there. And then after a while, I was just coming up with other methods of ab exercises that didn't require you to anchor your feet in, so to speak. And you can do a number of those too. One of them is just a simple leg lift now, but doing that with bringing your legs up and then getting it to where the soles of your feet are going up towards the ceiling. So it's a double motion. You're coming up, and then you're lifting. And that's where the hips get involved, right?
Good.
And that's going to hit those lower abs pretty well.
All right, folks. Now, what you're hearing here are all of these things we've talked about so far. And, as the months progress and all, and we do hopefully every other week or so, we're going to have our fitness guru, David, on, and with more and more of this, plus this column every week. I think it's in the Offshore Gazette on Mondays or Tuesdays, I believe. Dave, is that right?
Yeah, I'm going to try to work on them, try to have your copy by Monday mornings.
Yeah. So so folks, watch for that, because this advice you're getting here is just invaluable, and you're really not going to get it anywhere else as directly, and not geared to Offshore Club members, because you all have your own set of needs. Okay. Mm-hmm. You all have your own set of needs. So we're almost out of time, but I really, very quickly, one day I want to talk about supplements and and we'll get into a whole show on supplements one day, but just very briefly, what about diet? What about diet? I got to admit, especially as you get older, you develop a sweet tooth.
Sure.
And so I love my pumpkin scones from Starbucks this time of year. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
give us 3 good tips for diet that will really help people slim down, not get that aged pot gut, look good, feel good.
Yeah, you picked a great time of year to discuss that, right? It's a confirmed rule when it comes to whether it's getting in shape or going to the high levels of bodybuilding or anything like that. And that is that at least 80% of it takes place in the kitchen, right? These folks that are in tremendous shape, personal or professional or otherwise, they pretty much, now of course depending on age, but pretty much have a very, very decent, if not strict diet. The older you get, the more strict it's going to need to be. You just can't burn off those calories like you used to, and that's understood.
Right.
However, I think, there's, again, everyone's different, right? So here's the scenario. You and I, or me and anybody, 2 people can have the same diet, work the same exercise, have the same schedule, and yet get different results, right? That's going to happen, right? However, common denominator where you have a decent diet plan, and at the end of the day, as long as your calories that you take in aren't exceedingly above what you burn, then you'll either be able to maintain or lose weight, right? So you want to, it's a matter of if you're in a surplus or you're in a deficit. If you're in a deficit, you're going to start, shedding off some pounds over time. But it's the opposite that are getting people, where they're constantly in a surplus because they're not active, they're not taking that walk on the beach that they have accessible to them in the Caribbean. They're not taking advantage of certain things. Even you talk about when we met at Lowe's, you're on your feet for 7, 8, 9 hours, right? That's a huge plus. I never got more, grainy as far as cut wise until I wound up working there full time because I got laid off. I went there full time in between jobs, working 8 hours a day on my feet, and you're just able to burn, and that's what it comes down to. So you lock that in with a decent diet, and a decent diet is a mixture. You want to. I limit the carbs. I don't cut out carbs. I know a lot of folks are keto. They don't want carbs, or carbs are bad. Carbs aren't bad. They're not bad. You need them, right? It's just a matter of how you schedule your meals. You need to understand again, going back to how much you burn and how much you take in. You can, just on that alone, you could eat carbs all day if you want. But I choose not to. I'm a protein guy. I like the protein. And one of the game changers for me was fats. I learned a lot about fats, healthy fats, not the garbage trans fats that are out there that'll kill you, but the healthy fats like avocado and olive oils and certain nuts that I wish I can have, but I can't. Look into healthy fats. If you want to balance out your diet, cut back on cravings, because that's what fats are great for. They help you not only for energy, but they'll also help cut back your cravings. So all those pumpkin scones and whatever else that you're craving, if you increase your fats, they'll keep you satisfied for longer periods of time, and you can get over the hump into the next portion of your day where you're going to eat, scheduling those meals. Then you can get into things like intermittent fasting and things like that, and all kinds of things we can talk about that I'm going to mention for sure in upcoming newsletters.
Which is fantastic. And we are out of time, but I want to do 2 things. First of all, I want to thank you. This is incredible.
Sure.
I mean, with you this is a dream come true for me, and I know for other Offshore Club members, to have our own fitness guru who understands the unique needs of Offshore Club members. And I want to encourage all of our members, watch for Dave's column. Watch for David's column, the Fitness Guru's column. Every week, it's Monday or Tuesday in the Offshore Club Gazette. We'll try, if you can do it, if you can come on every other week for this interviews, would be fantastic. David?
Sure. You know, we can put out a newsletter, and then we could follow it up with an interview and kind of expand.
That's fantastic. And eventually, maybe David will do some videos, folks, that you can get, or some products that you can get through him, because then you're getting exactly what you need from the person who knows those needs and helps you fulfill them. So, David, thank you. This has been great.
All right, Carter. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, it's great to see you again, and thanks for your
time.
time.
I mean, we don't get to see each other enough, so hey, you know where to find me, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you.
You too. Merry Christmas to you and your wife.
Thank you. I love that guy. I remember when I first met him. I remember I showed you I met him when I was doing some stuff for Lowe's, and I look at this guy and I think to myself, man, I feel like I'm around Jack LaLanne. Some of you are saying, it's Jack LaLanne. Jack LaLanne was one of the first great fitness gurus. I think he had the first fitness TV show ever. And that's what Dave was like, a little muscular guy, and the more I got to know him, I realized not only is he very, very muscular, very in great shape, but he's also very intelligent and a great guy, as you've just seen in the interview. So we're going to do more interviews with him. I'm going to tell you, I'm asking him to put out a product line, because that way, you can order from Dave, whether it's a supplement, maybe resistance bands, whatever you need, and you're going to get the very best from the top experts. So this is good stuff. This is all lifestyle. That's what sets your Offshore Club apart. So thank God we got Dave now. And so we're going to be interviewing yet another new guru who's body, mind, and spirit. Okay. So we'll get into that later. Okay. But first, let's talk about $1,000 listing Caribbean. This is like the 40th property that I've told you about. Incredible prices, gorgeous properties for incredible prices, for less money than we can even imagine possible. Okay. Than we can even imagine possible. I get a lot of notes from people say, Carter, where can I go? Well, be near the water, great amenities, and affordable. Every property I've given you for the past 40 episodes of Coffee with Carib Carter has cost, I'd say, anywhere from a quarter to a third of what you'd pay in the U.S., sometimes much less. The one I'm going to give you now, I'd say maybe even a fifth, finding something comparable in the U.S., okay? My home, I'd say a tenth. The home I bought, honest to God, if you go to LaCeibaBeachClub.com, you're going to say those homes there you would pay 10 times as much for in the U.S. There's just no doubt. And a lot of these that we've talked about over the past couple of weeks at $1,000 listing Caribbean are the bargains of a lifetime, including the one we're going to talk about today. It is, as the headline, and this is, I always tell you this because it's important. I don't make any money off these properties I tell you about from vivion.com. I remember Angelina wrote to me and said, please pronounce things carefully when you give us a name. Look at Vivion, VIVIUN.com. Go there. You're going to click on a little box in the upper right-hand corner, right in the country you're interested in, and up comes all these great listings. Honest to God, folks, you're going to be stunned. Anywhere in the world, but of course we focus on the Caribbean, Latin America, Central and South America. This particular property in the Dominican Republic is, when you go there, type in up in the little box in the right-hand corner, AD 1643. Okay, I'll give you the number again later, but it's AD 1643. This is in an area called Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. I love my show and tell. So there you see Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic, right on the water there. You see it there? Here, you know what? I should have circled it earlier. So let me circle it now. Pardon me. I'm doing what I should have done earlier now so you can see it. Hold on. There we go. See it? There we go. Say, come on, Carter, do your homework before you come on the air. All right. That's where it is, right there on the water. Isn't that great? Yeah. I love to get you places on the beach. This is 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths, 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths. Completely furnished, 14-foot ceilings in the living rooms and dining rooms. It's a beautiful place, folks. It's a beautiful place. Includes appliances, washer, dryer, air conditioning, very close to the shopping and the beach. Here's a picture of it here. Okay, here's a picture of it here that I think you're just going to like a lot. It's a little grainy, but when you love to just walk through the gate and say, Lucy, I'm home, right? Look at that. Beautiful home right there. That's it. Minutes from the beach. Walk through that gate and there you are. And when you get inside, let me show you what you're going to find. Okay, I got to do this right here. There you are inside. Can you believe it? Isn't that gorgeous? That's 14-foot ceilings. Look out the window there. Look at your view. Your view out the window. The beautiful sunshine, right? Looking down toward the beach. Isn't that lovely? It's just fantastic. And when I say looking toward the beach, well, once you walk out the door, then you will be at the beach. There you are. You and your friend there, right there on the beach. Pristine beach. Proud of you, got it all to yourself there. You and your friends. Pretty nice, huh? Pretty nice. Yeah. That home, that magnificent 2-bedroom home. Here's the community. Okay. Just so you know, if you want to go shopping and all that, look at that. That is beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? That's the community you're going to be moving to. Incredible home. Here's what TripAdvisor wrote about. There are all around, this is TripAdvisor, okay? Well-priced, all-inclusive beach resorts are the norm around Puerto Plata. Take a cable car to the peak of Mount Isabel de Torres. Enjoy a concert at the amphitheater. Folks, this is dream life stuff, okay? This is what I called dream big and live large, okay? Take a cable car to a concert at the amphitheater facing the Atlantic Ocean. Visit the 16th century St. Felipe Fortress. Explore the nearby falls of Damahuagra, whatever. Snorkel off the beautiful island at Cayo Arena. Play around the golf in the nearby golf course. And then go kiteboarding at Sosua, a picturesque beach spot near Puerto Plata. Folks, this is the dream life. This is the dream life that I want for you. And it's entirely safe and secure, You can't beat that. In the Dominican Republic, gorgeous. Now you might say, well, okay, Carter, now that's pretty nice. I mean, that's a gorgeous home and right off the beach and, great living, beautiful community. How much is going to set me back? You ready? $110,000. That home I just showed you. That home I just showed you. $110,000. That's it. That's incredible. That's a what, 300,000 at least home, maybe more. 500,000 could be. On the beach in America. Come on, waterfront. Come on. Yeah, you're talking that 110,000. And then it says in parentheses, negotiable. So I'd say, I'd go to them and I'd say, start out at 90. You got nothing to lose. See what they say. Being sold by the owner. So Anne is her name. That's probably want to negotiate with you, talk to you, make a friend, buy a home, live the good life. It's right there now. It's right there. Again, go to vivion.com. Type in a little box, AD 1643. Check the property out. Because you deserve it. Okay? You deserve it. You deserve the good life. And boy, that's pretty, everything I just showed you is pretty good life, isn't it? It's pretty good life. So, like I said, let's do this thing. Isn't it great? It's all unfolding for you. So that's your $1,000 listing, Caribbean. And it leads us to our second interview. It's a Christmas in the Caribbean interview at another great place, Grand Pacifica. Leslie Lawrence is in Grand Pacifica. We're going to be talking to in just a minute. And grandpacifica.com. the most beautiful residential resort community in the entire Caribbean. I guarantee you, it's a Mike Cobb community. You cannot beat a Mike Cobb. When you hear that, when Carib Carter tells you this is a Mike Cobb community, that means it is the creme de la creme. Okay. All right. So Leslie's there in the interview we're gonna share in a moment, and she's gonna tell you about Christmas in the Caribbean. So, super producer Brian, let's roll it. Welcome, welcome, Leslie Lawrence from Nicaragua. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
I'm good. As you can see, I'm all decked out for Christmas here. Have a holly jolly Christmas.
It's that time of year.
I don't think you have any holly there, right? Look, I look like a Hallmark Christmas card now.
Yeah, I'm a little underdressed. I didn't bring my elf hat. I should have come more prepared today.
I think you're sane. I think you're sane is what it is. Very good. But
I have an elf costume that I will be bringing out, and I do have a little goofy elf headband thing. So I'm one of those. I'm really into Christmas and holidays. I've loved them since I was a child.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I think we want to talk about that. We want to talk. Remember last time you were on, you were a huge hit. Everybody loved you because you are effervescent and upbeat and very, very informative. And so everybody said, well, bring Leslie back. And I said, well, it's perfect time for her is Christmas. So Feliz Navidad. It's just fantastic. My wife, as you know, is from Honduras, and I think she had our Christmas decoration. She started to decorate at the beginning of November. So she's very, very excited about it. And let's talk about we want people to move to the Caribbean. Okay. We want people to make their move south of the border to the good life at a great price. And what better time for them to realize how great it is down there than at this time, where I know from when I lived in Honduras, these folks down there know how to celebrate the holidays.
Absolutely.
Right.
You've heard me talk before about just the vibrant energy that is here, and that's why it's a perfect place for me. I love that. I love happy people and music and just the festivities that go on. So of course, I lived in Belize for many years, and Christmas there is always a wonderful time. They really are enthusiastic about it, kind of like I am. So I'm anxious. This is my very first Christmas here in Nicaragua. I recently put up my first Christmas tree here, so I was very excited about that and getting into the festivities here. Of course, they really go all out. You're going through the different communities, and even in Managua, the lights and the decorations. And of course here, with Catholicism and from a, religious side, you see a lot. I guess I'm learning about some of the new holidays that lead up to Christmas here. So we just had one. Basically, kind of the Christmas holidays here start around December 6th. And yesterday they had a holiday that was called, it's really about let's see if I can say it right. Sorry about the Spanish, La Purísima. And so it's really paying homage to the Immaculate Conception. And so that's a very big, start of the holiday season here. And you'll see a lot of, Virgin Mary things throughout, the communities and the decorations and so forth. They actually go around, and I think kind of like we would do Christmas caroling, they do the Christmas hymns and carols about the Virgin Mary, and they go kind of house to house and do that.
Oh my God.
Really cool. And they have little treats waiting for them, like the rosquillas, or some different candies or oranges, those types of things. So that's kind of interesting, like I said, just to learn about their traditions and some of the new things. I'm excited to experience that. I was told too, they really lead up from now until Christmas Day. So things kind of shut down a little bit here, especially in the business world, for Christmas. But I was told that Christmas Eve is like a really big deal here, probably more so even than Christmas Day. So leading up to, again, you're going to see a lot of nativity scenes, a lot of, the decorations and all that. They do come together as a family and, do like we do. They decorate the Christmas tree together, that type of thing. But Christmas Eve is really probably the more special, I guess, if you want to say, moment for them, where they come together as a family. Everyone comes together, they have their meal, that type of thing. They're obviously, depending on where you are, your Christmas traditions are a little bit different. But here I'm told that they have like more of a Spanish kind of link to that tradition. So the dinner menu kind of consists of like a stuffed chicken, maybe naca tamales,
Right,
some
right,
type of rice, and then a traditional baked bread that they do. So the other interesting thing for the whole Santa Claus, in the
right.
U.S. Santa Claus, here they have Papa Noel. So I'm like, oh, I love that Papa Noel. So they write letters to Papa Noel, and ask for their wish list and those type of things the kids do. But then I'm told that on Christmas Day that it's more of a relaxed day, and a lot of them here, the start of summer is actually in
Mhm.
November, which is kind of hard for me to wrap my my mind around. But
Right, right.
it's summer here now. And so usually, they're leading up, even though it starts in November, leading up to the Christmas holidays, it's busy. So apparently on Christmas Day, a lot of them really go to the beaches and spend family time on the beach on that day.
It's just everything you are saying is, it's absolutely delightful. And as you're talking about some things, and I think, folks, a lot of you are going to share this with me, especially people my age or almost my age. I don't think there is anybody my age, but people leading up to my age. All right. I'm 75, and there aren't a lot of us out there. I often think of one time somebody said to George Burns, if you remember,
Oh
lived in
yeah.
Maryland. And somebody said to him, George, why don't you date women your own age? And he said, there are no women my own age. Well, I'm married, so I don't have that problem. But
Oh my
your
goodness.
recollection, you're telling us about what it's like there. And folks, think about it for a second. What she's describing is what we used to have in the U.S. The caroling. Oh my God. Christmas caroling. My dad was a minister, and churches in little town of Williamsport, Maryland, then Hancock, then the city, Baltimore City. But everywhere, we couldn't wait to go Christmas caroling at night. And what you're saying, I remember when I lived in Honduras, I was there, lived one Christmas there, and seeing them Christmas caroling, the end almost brought tears to my eyes, because you don't see it in America anymore. It was just, it was wonderful is the only word for it. It was wonderful. Yeah.
I can't wait. Of course, here at Grand Pacifica, this is totally different holiday. It's a Nicaraguan holiday, but something I really enjoyed during the Halloween, what we know as Halloween, we were able to share that tradition with people here, and we loaded up the kids on the golf carts and we took them around the homes, and then we had a little
Nice.
hamburger cookout afterwards. So I'm prepared, and I'm trying to, get people together. I want to load up in the golf carts and go house to house singing Christmas carols in the golf carts through the community. So that's what I'm going to head here shortly.
Which is fantastic. And I think, I do want to mention that to people. You are in Grand Pacifica. Folks, Grand Pacifica is the single most beautiful residential resort community in the Caribbean, and it's very affordable, and it is gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yes.
And it's a real community. So when you're saying about loading up the people in the golf cart and at Halloween, you handed it. Grand Pacifica, folks, a lot of times people write to me and say, I want to live in a nice community with other people again, where people enjoy each other. And that's what you have, right?
Right. That's what we have here. I've been here now over 6 months, and a lot of these people have become like family to me. I'm here by myself. I have my 2 rescue dogs here, and I've really made some great friendships. But, things go on within the community, and you see that, your neighbors step up to the plate, and there's some amazing people here that really, I know they are there to support me. They're just here to support everyone when things occur. And it's just amazing to see, that community here. We had a big get together this morning. So we have coffee and donuts, once a month.
Nice.
And so all the neighbors can come together. And of course, I live for sprinkled donuts. So I'm like, I'm there. Like, you're going to see me in my sprinkled donut. But it's a great time. And it's just, we don't even really, it's not anything real formal. We just come together as a community, and we're able to all be in one place at once and really visit. And we do it there at the Sea Salt restaurant. And we end up just kind of mingling and visiting and doing that. And then, maybe at the end we have a couple of formal moments or updates or that kind of thing. But That's what is special about this place. I've been a lot of different places, and when you're looking for something overseas, there are places that are more of a, maybe a tourist feel, or resorts and those kind of things, hotel kind of feels.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, we are a resort, and yes, we do have guests that come in that don't live here full time. But it's a different thing here because we do have actual communities and different
Oh, yeah, yeah.
homes. And I mean, we're 2,500 acres, so it's a huge property. But the thing that really I think stands out to me is the people.
The people, and it really is. That's why I always, whenever I tell people about it, I point out I always say to them, it's a residential resort community, because the people live there and they get together and do things. And now at this time of year, when you're describing, okay, what happens at Grand Pacifica, the Christmas celebrating, the Christmas decorations, and in Managua, and I know from the other small towns, and see if you agree with this. One of the things that I really loved about it when I spent that, I think I was 1 or 2 Christmases I lived in Honduras, was in the windows of the stores, they had all the, they had Papa Noel and elves and all that. Not, I lived near La Ceiba, which is the right on the coast, right on the water, about 100,000 people or so, and so the stores had, and the mall, La Ceiba, they had the Christmas Papa Noel and Frosty the Snowman. I don't think most of the people there even know what the heck the snowman was, but but they always had, and this I really loved, and maybe it's because of my background, David, the nativity scene, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm like you. I grew up, Southern Baptist preacher's grandfather and great grandfather. So I'm like you. When I see the nativity scene, of course, for me, what the true meaning of Christmas is. So
yeah,
it's you'll embrace that, and like you said, it's everywhere. And something else that they do that I don't recall, like we don't do it at Christmas time. I know we do it at New Year's in the States, but here, like through the month of December, you're hearing and seeing a lot of fireworks taking place during the entire holiday season.
really,
right? Yeah. Hey, do it. They know how to celebrate. Let me just tell you, I love.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. When talking about the nativity scene, my dad always had a live nativity scene, particularly when in Baltimore, because the church was a big church, a big front Greek type place. So we had a live nativity scene, and every year I'd have to vie with my best friend to be Joseph, right? And yeah, because I wanted to be Joseph, right? Primarily because I had a crush on the girl who was going to be Mary, and my friend Winky Dink would say, no, I want to be Joseph this year. And Winky Dink, we used to call him the tank because he weighed about 250 pounds. And so I would say, Winky, there's not a burro in the world that could carry you all the way to Bethlehem. And he would point out, the burro didn't carry Joseph, it carried Mary. I was,
wow.
It's so funny, isn't it? But
and I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard that they do some reenactments as well. Even with Mary and Joseph, I think on December 16th here is when they do like the reenactment of Mary and Joseph trying to find lodging. So that's something that's, different for Nicaragua that, I'm not used to. But then most of the homes do construct a manger scene and kind of do that reenactment as well.
Isn't that great? It's just great. There is such a, again, it's kind of like, it's so funny. It's kind of a throwback. And last time we talked, you said it's like Mayberry. Right. I don't know if you remember. And that's, and I'm staying with my brother right now because he broke his hip and, a caretaker type thing for a while, my wife and I. And so we watch Andy Griffith every night. And it's that flavor of being hometown and caring and the traditional values that we're talking about reflected at Christmas time. What better time?
Right. I completely agree.
Yeah. Now you won't, Now, will you go down to the beach at Christmas when the rest now up here where I am, we're looking for a white Christmas. You ain't gonna have it. So
No, we have Christmas in the sand here, and I actually, I got used to that in Belize, and I, of course, I grew up in Texas, so it was hit or miss. In Texas, it could be 90 degrees or it could be 40. You don't know. You could
yeah,
have snow.
yeah.
But I'm one of those. I do love winter. I like snow in very small doses now. I like to snow ski and stuff. But now that I've been in, from Belize to Nicaragua during this time of year, I mean, it's sunshine and gorgeous right now. Probably, I don't know, 88 degrees, I would guess. And I really truly embrace Christmas in the sand now. And I'm sure we'll be out on the beach at some point on Christmas Day.
I will. It's just so funny. It's unbelievable. Well, let me ask you this, because I have a feeling a lot of people, this little question in the back of their head, what do they do about a Christmas tree? They don't have any pine trees, do they?
You know what? That's a good question. I haven't noticed any. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know the name. I went to the store and bought one, so most of the ones I've seen are artificial trees. But that's a good question. I'm gonna ask somebody and find out if they have any type of live trees that they use as Christmas trees here. That's a great question. I need to know.
Yeah, when I had my home in El Pino in Honduras, I had palm trees in my yard, but we didn't hang any tinsel or bulbs from them. So
I've seen that done, and in Belize, people will decorate the palm trees, and
they do.
Oh, absolutely, of course, yeah.
That's fair. And what about, you mentioned the foods? How about fruitcake in the Caribbean? Have you seen much?
I haven't, but now in Belize, I don't remember there being fruitcake. But I don't know about Nicaragua. I'm sure maybe they have some form of special thing. I'll find out. I don't know. Trust me, if there's something special for holiday, I'm going to give it a try for sure.
Yeah, I remember that. Everybody knows I love Central America. Obviously, I own 2 homes in Honduras. I have a Honduran wife, for God's sake. You can't love it more than that, right? But the one thing that I always tell people, I'm always going to be honest with you. The one thing that just baffled me, I could never find a good pastry. I could you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I mentioned fruit cake or any other kind of sweets they have at Christmas. I never had a good pastry in Honduras. I don't know how it is in Nicaragua or Belize.
I don't know. So the interesting thing here is, well, even like in Belize, it's different. And I think I like to bake, Carter. Let me just tell you, I love to bake.
Okay,
good. I'm known for my red velvet cake balls, which always come out at Christmas time. So I'll be making some and sharing them with everyone here. They may be too sweet for the locals. So what I have found in Belize, even like the donuts in Belize, they're not quite the same as what we're used to. A lot of what they would call sweet. I think, I was a sweet tea girl. I grew up drinking sweet tea for breakfast. So I think our form of sweet is just too much for a lot of the countries here. So I know here the pastries and things that I've seen, they're just different. I mean, they're good, but they're not that real sweet like we're used to. So again, I'll try whatever, they have and try to find out for Christmas treats, but I think they'll be a little bit different than what we're accustomed to.
Yeah, the word I have for their sweets is bland. I know I don't know whether you ever had them, but I love pumpkin scones at Starbucks, right? They're only around October and into November. And so I buy them and I take them home, and my wife scrapes off the icing.
The best part.
I tell her, Princess, that's a desecration. It's because it's too sweet. The other thing I have to laugh about at this time of year with her, she obviously, being a Honduran, she loves Christmas and all, but the cold weather, there's not her idea of that's not part of her Christmas. And her first year here, every time, we'd walk out the door, and it would be, Pennsylvania's pretty cold at Christmas time. And we'd walk out the door and she would say, Amor, nobody should have to live like this.
That is awesome. That's so funny.
But she definitely, as a Honduran from Central America, she definitely knows how to keep Christmas. And it is very much the traditional Christmas celebration that you and I, in different eras, both loved. about the U.S., and you don't really, unfortunately, you don't see that a lot anymore. I don't, I when you see when I see a nativity scene on somebody's lawn now, it is overwhelmed by Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty and Santa and the Grinch and everybody else.
All the other characters.
Everybody's crowding into the manger now, if
Right,
there's a manger. But in the sense, so it's a great time of just a great folks. You got to spend Christmas, even if you just. Suggest people do this. If you haven't bought your home at Grand Pacifica or where I bought my home in Honduras, La Ceiba Beach Club, Vista, wherever, okay? If you haven't bought it by this time next year, at least go visit. Right, Leslie?
Yes. The fun thing is I have some clients here right now. I have more people coming, trying to get here before the end of the year, which is exciting, and people coming for spring break. So I just tell people, come see for yourself. A lot of these countries get kind of a bad rap, I think, on certain things. And I really encourage people, until you've come and experienced for yourself, then you owe yourself that, because there's some beautiful places in all of these countries and to explore. And of course, I love to show off and share Grand Pacifica with everyone. So I hope to see everyone here soon.
It's fantastic. And we really appreciate your joining us again, particularly this time of year. So let me get my...
Yes, get it going.
I wish you have a holly jolly Christmas. Feliz Navidad. And thank
Feliz Navidad.
Thank you once again for
Feliz Navidad. You know that one. Come
on. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks, if it's all right.
That sounds great.
Right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good to see
you. Wonderful person. And remember, when you make your move to Grand Pacifica, she's going to be your neighbor. She and all the other wonderful people she told you about that she gets together with almost every morning for coffee, relax. Folks, that's the kind of life we used to have in the U.S. before they decided to make us all stay locked up in our homes and 6 feet apart. On and on, which is not stopping. Down there, you got your freedom. You got your freedom. And to have your freedom with someone like Leslie and the other friends you're going to make at Grand Pacifica, you just can't beat it. And it's what I want for you. That's what your Offshore Club is all about, the great lifestyle. And just to give you some encouragement, let's finish up with the Carib Carter motivational moment. I love this short video. It's 2 minutes. 2 minutes. As a matter of fact, 1 minute, 58 seconds. And it's about defying the odds, because you're going to hear a lot from people when you say, I think I'm going to follow Carib Carter's advice and make my move south of the border. Oh, well, this could happen. And what if that happens? And aren't you afraid of that? No, we're not. No, we're not. We're afraid of what's going on here. We're not afraid of down there. It's getting better down there by the day. And so if there are any bad odds, we intend to defy them. Okay? Defy the odds and defy the naysayers and make your move. So watch this video for a little bit of encouragement that may have you reaching for the passport and joining me in buying your home south of the border. Here we go.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us at the Offshore Club. For more information on the Offshore Club or to contact Carib Carter, visit www.offshore.club today. www.offshore.club. That's www.offshore.club. See you next time at the Offshore Club.